All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Thursday. This is the third day of March, March 3rd, Women's History Month. Yeah, Women's History Month. And this is the 44th episode of season 3 of the Be Your Own Hero Show. HERO is an acronym. It means helping everyone reach optimism. In other words, helping others helps you with the reciprocal action. I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I am a professional creative and the creator of the Hero Ministry movement, which is my effort to uplift and inspire the unhoused community and other people too. It has grown. It has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. So this is a movement of inspiration and uplift. So shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me this platform to talk about my journey of becoming my own hero. And quick disclaimer, I'm not a personal trainer or my financial advisor, so do your own due diligence and just follow my journey of me talking about what has worked for me and in many cases what has not worked for me. Just a reminder, I'm here Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's 8:45 a.m. Central, 7:45 a.m. Mountain. Yes. And if this show provides any value, please like, please comment, please share, please spread the word. Consider making a donation. Consider visiting the Hero Shop, which is on my website, sekouwrites.com. Okay, so I blew through that quickly because I want to get to some things. By the way, someone asked me recently why I do the announcements in the beginning. That's because I discovered that I'm very loquacious. I talk a lot, which I did not know. Honestly, I didn't know, but since doing this show, I recognize I keep going over time. And I used to try to get in the announcements at the end, all the introductory stuff, but I just use up all the time. So before I do that again, let me move on. But that's why. Okay, so where are we going first? Let's go to Hero Ministry Movement News and the Run Streak. I'm doing 2 experiments today, which is a little dangerous doing 2 experiments at once, but I'm gonna try it. Experiment number 1, I'm gonna start right now. This platform that we're using to broadcast the show is called StreamYard. They've made some improvements. They offer music now. So I'm going to turn on some background music. If it gets distracting, let me know. I just want to see how it works. So I'm going to start that right now. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there it is. It's happening in the background. So let me know if it's distracting. Okay, experiment number 2, I'm going to show you the actual run report. I talk about it here, but for those of you that don't follow me on social media, I'm going to show the run report today. The run report is usually is maximum 3 minutes. It's usually a little less than that. So I'm going to show it for those of you who have never seen this. This is today's run report. I'll do that in a second. Actually, I'll do that right now. Let's do that right now. I'm going to show you today's run report. Again, for those of you that don't know, I do the run report as soon as I finish running, and then whatever pops into my head to say about today's run is what I say in that moment. So let's give this a shot. Okay, so far so good. Stand by. And actually, let me take the music off. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Here we go. 276. I've been running every day, at least a mile a day for now 276 days in a row. I'm on my 3rd charity run. I'm raising money for Mr. Charles to help him get back on his feet. The donation link is in the bio. We are at 84% of the way to our goal. Let's close this out. Let's go. All right. So today, once again, is day 276. I've got less than 100 days until I've been doing this for a whole year. Less than 100 days to 365. And my current goal is to run a 5K every day for the next 90 days. That'll take me all the way to 365. That'll take me 2 days, 365. So today is day 2, 5K yesterday, 5K today, and actually clarify, at least a 5K, because there will be days when I run more than a 5K. I gotta get the sun out my face. Woo! It's bright out here. It's bright. Anyway, do I have a run story today? No, not particularly. Well, I say that, but I got sweat in my eyes. What I was listening to as I was running today was information about the stock market. Sweat in my eyes, stinging. Okay. information about the stock market is very helpful to have like that half hour of the downloaded information about the stock market. So I'm going to jump into some of that stuff on my show today. As soon as I can see clearly, I'm gonna go prepare for my show. So check me out later today on the Be Your Own Hero show. We're going to be talking about the stock market today for sure, and maybe a couple other things. Okay, I think that's all I got. Keep doing, be a hero, be your own hero though. That's the most important thing. Remember that now is better than perfect. Don't wait, just pull the trigger. Whatever it is, just pull the trigger. And I'll see you on my show at 9:45 Eastern Time, to Be Your Own Hero show. Later. 276. I've been running every day, at least a mile a day. Okay, so that was it. That was the full run report. So let me know how that worked for you. Maybe I'll do that in the future ongoing. It was kind of fun for me. It feels like a different person when I'm watching my run reports. I'm not even sure why, but that felt like a different person. Like I was watching someone else give a run report. Anyway, shout out to the people who are watching live. Shout out to Rev Mel's mom. Thanks for tuning in. Shout out to Tim, coffee and water. This is what I did today, Tim. I took the water with me and drank the water on my way back. And so then I could jump into the coffee when I got back. So that worked well today. Shout out to Linda. Shout out to Gladys. All right. So thanks for watching live, guys. I appreciate it. All right. So that was the actual run report. And as you heard me say in the run report, the charity run is going really well. Mr. Charles's neighbor called me a couple of days ago, and I'm hoping to close this out before I call her back, but we'll see. So anyway, help me share, and if you can donate, please do. And once again, I'm doing a 10 for 10. So I'm asking 10 people to donate $10. I haven't put that on social media yet, but that's the plan. $10, 10 people, $10. That'll do us really well. Okay, moving on to the envelope challenge. I got my dice, my die. Here we go. We're rolling the dice live like a game show. 3. Number today is 3. Yeah, 3. So transfer $3 from your checkings to your savings, your investment bucket, a separate account that you're going to use to invest. The reason we're doing this, just as a reminder, is because the number one reason people won't invest is they feel like they don't have enough money to invest. And so this is a small way that we can create a bucket of money that is specifically for investing. All right. So it's not too late to get in. We're just going to keep doing this every day. Any day you decide to jump in. So today's number is 3. That means transfer $3. That's a small amount of money. That's less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Well, I guess it depends on where you go, but about the cost of a daily coffee. So jump in on that. All right, moving on to the Zen, morning Zen. So today I started reading, well, actually, I guess I didn't start today, but today I continued reading 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. This is a book that is being promoted by Rev Melissa because she's doing a class on abundance that uses this book as a text. So it was her that brought the book to my attention. I downloaded the sample and I popped in to that sample this morning to read a little bit. And what fascinated me is the fact that what I read this morning is the same thing that I read in The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. Now, let me help you understand the significance of this. The Science of Getting Rich is the book that I created a podcast around. I read this book at the beginning of the pandemic. It impacted me in a significant way. I created a podcast around that book, which last time I checked was being listened to in 38 different countries. So it's really taking off. And the reason it's taking off is because the information is really solid. And again, that book was written in 1910. The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity was published in 2005. Look at that span of time. And yet they're talking about the same thing in the same way. And so I get excited when that happens because it makes me feel like there is a way. There is a definitive, definable way to abundance, to wealth. You just have to figure out what it is by reading all these texts and then applying it. And applying it is the part where it requires willpower. But knowing that there's a path, a specific method, a specific path to follow is very exciting. So very briefly, I'm going to talk about this later, but very briefly, where those two texts overlap today was the idea that you have a right to be rich. You have a right to be rich. And that's something aspirational. I remember when I first read that in The Science of Getting Rich, that was chapter 1, sentence 1. And I was like, wait, what? Like, it's a mind-bending idea. So you have to work your way into acceptance of it, but it flies in the face of many of the things we were taught about money as kids, right? So it's definitely a mindset shift to think that you have the right to be rich. And if you become rich, well, let's just make that more positive. When you become rich, you can do more good in the world. And the 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, that book referenced Oprah Winfrey and how much good she's able to do in the world because she's got so many resources at her disposal. She can do and has done so many things. So anyway, I want to move on because I want to get to this stock market stuff. So I'm just excited about the fact that those 2 books overlap. If you haven't yet, check out my podcast. It's called Get Rich 101. And in that podcast, I'm reading The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Waters. So you don't even have to pick up the book. You can just listen to me read it. Okay, so moving on. Let's see. Where are we going to go? Yeah, let's get into the abundance stuff because I feel like I've got some things to say there. So let's do our affirmation. We've been doing this one for a while now, and it seems effective, so let's stick with it. Where is the affirmation? And I'm liking the background music so far, so let me know what you guys think, but it's working for me. All right, here's the affirmation. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. Okay, so we did that. Reminder, if you only spend, you'll stay poor. If you only save, you'll stay middle class. If you want to become wealthy, you must invest. It's not optional. It's not optional. Again, sidebar, that's another one of the things that flies in the face of everything that I learned about money in my life. I've always gotten the message that investing is optional, like ideal, but optional. No, it's necessary. It's necessary. And speaking of which, let's get into some things. So yesterday I was trying to reference, well, I did reference this Warren Buffett quote, but I couldn't get it quite right. And it was nagging at me yesterday, so I went ahead and looked it up. And I'm going to read the quote, and then I'm going to tell a little bit of a story. So here's the quote. Okay. Warren Buffett once said that it is wise for investors to be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. Let me read it again. This is a Warren Buffett quote. Be fearful when others are greedy. Be greedy when others are fearful. All right, so that's the quote. After I found it last night, it was still nagging at me. I was like, why is it still nagging at me? And I didn't figure it out until this morning. You know what it was? I've heard that quote before. And this is just like what I was referencing a few minutes ago in terms of the span of time between The Science of Getting Rich and the 4 Laws of Prosperity. There's so much time passed between the publication of those 2 books, but the information is the same. This quote from Warren Buffett is relatively recent. Let's just say it's in the 2000s. Let's just say. This same idea was referenced in this other book that I'm reading from the 1700s in Japan. So I'm going to read the quote from that book. Here we go. When all are bearish, when all are bearish, there is cause for concern. When all are bearish, there is cause for concern. This comes from Japan in the 1700s. Now, just a reminder, bearish and bullish are the two schools of thought, if you want to refer to them as such, that exist in the stock market. Bullish is buying and bearish is selling. Bullish is buying, bearish is selling. I don't know why I'm leaning back and forth when I say that, but it helps me remember it. So you've seen that statue of the bull on Wall Street in New York. You've seen images of it, I'm sure. The bull represents buying, charging ahead, buying, and the bear represents hibernating, selling, falling back. So what this quote from the 1700s is saying is the same thing that Warren Buffett is saying now. When everyone else is falling back, you push forward. When everyone else is pushing forward, you fall back. It's called a contrarian law of finance. I might have made up some of that, but it's definitely called contrarian. So let's just call it a contrarian law of finance. Anyway, let me just remind you, Warren Buffett's net worth is $114 billion. This is an individual, not a company. He is worth $114 billion. And this goes all the way back to something we talked about before. We have to start listening to the people who are in the financial position that we want to be in. Not everybody, just the people who are in the financial position we want to be in, because what they say about money and how they think about money is entirely different than the people who are around you who may be more successful than you. We're not looking for more successful than you. We're looking for your goal. So you want to have a net worth of $1 billion plus, it makes sense to listen to Warren Buffett. So this contrarian view is really interesting. And it's counterintuitive. To me, at least, it's counterintuitive. It's because it's the opposite of what everyone else is doing. And so in real time, let's talk about this in real time. So right now, there's all this unrest going on in the world. And if you've noticed, I don't know if you have, but if you've noticed, the stock market is going crazy. Like, it's falling precipitously. There's lots of, what's that word they use? I can't think of the exact word, but basically there's a lot of movement. I'm trying to remember the exact terms so we can learn these terms and be savvy, but right now I can't think of it. But there's a lot of movement in the stock market right now. So here's the thing, a lot of people are getting out. So following this quote from Warren Buffett and following this quote from Japan in the 1700s, the opposite thing to do is to move forward. When everyone else is bearish, you got to be bullish, right? So that's a little scary, I'm not gonna lie, but the wisdom bears up over centuries. The wisdom bears up. So let me explain what I'm doing. And again, I'm not a financial advisor, so do your own research, do your own due diligence. This is what I'm doing. I am choosing to move forward as other people fall back in the stock market. And I have a very specific reason why. So let's talk about that. My specific reason why is, some of you may remember this if you've been watching the show for a long time, but early in the pandemic, when I first started investing for real, I bought into a stock that fell because of the pandemic, right? And I considered going all in. You know that scene in the movie where they push their chips all into the middle of the table? I considered doing that, but I didn't. And then later, I figured out that I could have made $40,000. That is not an arbitrary number. I did the math. If I had gone all in when I was going to go all in, I would have made $40,000 in about 3 months. That is real math. I'm going to tell you, when I figured it out, I had to lay down. I had to lay down and take a nap. Seriously. So that happened for a few different reasons, because the mindset was new, because I was fearful, because I was distracted by what was happening in the world because of the pandemic. And now in this new situation that everyone's distracted by, I am taking pains not to be distracted in the same way, because I know that it's possible. I know 100% it's possible to make $40,000 at least in the stock market when there's a time of social unrest, let's call it. So that said, that's my why. I want a second chance at making that $40,000 that I didn't make last time. So that's my why. And this is what I'm doing. What I'm doing personally is considering everything on sale. Stock market is on sale. It's a bargain basement sale right now. So obviously, I hope this is obvious because we've talked about it before, but obviously that doesn't mean every single stock is something you should buy. We talked about this before. Like if, your cousin's company just went public and you got a good feeling about it, that's not what we're talking about. That's still gambling. That's still wishing upon a star, right? What we're talking about is buying into the positions that you already know have done well historically and buying into them now while they're down, while they're on sale. So for me, that means the S&P 500 first and foremost. We've talked about this extensively. The S&P 500 is a fund that includes 500 companies, and not just any companies, 500 companies, and each of those companies has annual revenue of at least $40 billion. I mean, that's about as safe as you can get in the stock market, right? So my goal, number one, is to get more shares of the S&P 500 while it's on sale. It's on sale now. It's like $200 off the S&P 500 right now. So that's my first goal. My second goal is to acquire some of the FANG stocks. Now, we've talked about this extensively too. FANG is an acronym for 5 of the most successful growth stocks there are. We got Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, FANG. Although technically it's Mang now that Facebook has changed their name to Meta. So the 5 Mang stocks have performed so well that there is this acronym in the world of Wall Street that refers to these 5 stocks. So these are stocks that have done very well over time. And they're on sale now because of what's happening in the world. So I can be specific. Before all this happened with the Ukraine and in the world, etc., I was already trying to buy a full share of Netflix. Sidebar. The reason that I am investing in individual growth stocks is because I have used Cash App. So Cash App, for those of you that aren't familiar, is an app-based not really investing. It's a app-based peer-to-peer money transfer program that also allows you to buy stock. So they do not offer DRIP, and we've talked about that before. DRIP is dividend reinvestment plan. Cash App does not offer DRIP, which means I can't reinvest automatically the dividends. So on Cash App, I only have growth stocks, and I don't want to cash out because if I cash out, that'll create a taxable event. So that money is going to stay there, which means any money that I have in Cash App will be invested into growth stocks. And I'm explaining all this because I noticed before that some people were following me trying to acquire growth stocks. But to be clear, if I didn't have this money already in Cash App, I would be just buying the S&P 500. I would just be buying an index fund and other index funds like it because they give you exposure to all of the FANG/Mang stocks. All those stocks are already in the S&P 500. So figure out what works best for you. But the only reason I'm doing it that way is because I already have money invested in Cash App. And I don't want to cash out because I don't want to create a taxable event. I also don't want to invest in any dividend paying stocks in Cash App because there is no dividend reinvestment plan, i.e. DRIP. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, so what I'm doing, just to recap, because of what's happening in the world, the stock market is down, I am using that contrarian view that was mentioned by Warren Buffett, whose net worth is $114 billion, and also referenced in the 1700s in Japan. I'm using that contrarian view to be bullish when others are bearish. And by that, I'm acquiring as best I can more of what I know works. So more of the S&P 500 and more of the FANG/MANG stocks. So let me finish my example. So I was already attempting to acquire a full share of Netflix. Netflix at the time was trading for about $600 per share. So that's a heavy lift for me. So I was buying it incrementally on Cash App. And then everything that happened out there in the world happened. And now it's like $350 now instead of $600. It's on sale. And so my plan is to acquire it while it's on sale and then reap the rewards when it finally goes back up. Now, here's the next thing. You can do this next part yourself. It'll be more impactful if you do. So let's just use Netflix as an example. Go into whatever your brokerage account is. If it's Cash App, if it's Ameritrade, if it's Webull, it doesn't matter. Or if you don't have a brokerage account yet, just go into Google and see how much it's down right now. Because it's down. It's down. Right? See how much it's down right now. And then pull back, get a bird's eye view, and see how much it's up over the life of the stock. Do that research yourself. I could just tell you, but do that research yourself. Because you have to have that shift of being able to pull back and look at the long view. And I am exercising that muscle. That does not come naturally to me. What comes naturally is to panic because everyone else is panicking, and to see that line going down in my account and to panic. But when you pull back, and if you're in your brokerage account, you can just tap the button. You can tap the button for lifetime of this stock versus day view, week view, month view. You can just tap lifetime, and you can see the tremendous difference between the lifetime of the stock, and I'm giving it away by moving my fingers up, versus what's happening right now. So lots of people have said this, and I'm repeating what they have said. The stock market rewards patience. The stock market rewards patience, and that's on a long-term continuum. That does not refer to stock trading, which we've talked about recently. That's a whole other animal. We're not going to get into that right now. That's a whole other animal. So I just wanted to put a finer point on this for those of you who are looking at the stock market and kind of freaking out. Like, we've talked about this. Like, this is the test. This is the test, right? We've got to look at these circumstances in a new way, in a different way than we've looked at them before, and see this as an opportunity. And again, my why is very clear. I positively, definitely could have made 40 grand in the pandemic if I kept my eye on the ball. So my plan here is to keep my eye on the ball this time, and to be intentional about acquiring assets, acquiring positions that I know will work while they're on sale. And so, no, right? Something could happen with Netflix. It could go down, it could tank. But the likelihood it's going to tank feels slim to none to me. For any of the five FANG stocks, any of the five MANG stocks, obviously anything could happen. But anything could happen any day of your life. Any day that you step outside the house, anything could happen, right? But these five FANG/MANG stocks have done so well that Wall Street calls them the FANG/MANG stock. Everybody refers to them. And so the likelihood that they are going to bounce back after whatever it is that's happening now finishes happening is high. So do your own research, do your own due diligence. I'm sharing with you what I'm doing, what my plan is. So this was a one-off episode to talk about what's happening in the stock market right now. Tomorrow we will probably get back to the how-to guide that we're all creating together, So until then, keep doing, be a hero, be your own hero. Remember that now is better than perfect. Check out Prayer Time right now at 10:15. Check me out on Rev Malicious Show at 10:30. I'll be producing that show and probably popping on to say a couple words. But whatever you do today, go look at the stock market with new eyes, without panic, without fear. Go look at it and think about Warren Buffett's net worth of $114 billion. Just think about it. All right. That's it. I'm going to get out of here and go get ready for a Rev Mel show. I'll see you mañana. Later. Maybe.